So here we go again. I'm going to sand the Bondo. Then I think I'll turn my attention to sanding. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'll figure it out. Hopefully it's something interesting. Let's make some dust. So I've got about half a golf ball's worth. The instructions say 1.5 inches of hardener for a golf ball. Maybe a little bit more than a golf ball. I mean a little bit more than half a golf ball. So we'll do about 1 inch. There we go. So I'm only doing a little bit, filling some small, I called them divots yesterday. So once the hardener is fully mixed, in other words, you get a uniform pattern there. And I actually went through after I cleaned it and marked these here and here. So I will apply them and let them harden, and hopefully this is the last time on these doors. Skim, light skim coat on there. And a light skim coat on there. So I'm going to try to create a patch for this opening here. And it only needs to be a relatively insignificant one. I don't want to mess with this. I don't need to. The soft stuff only starts about here, so I'm just looking, and I don't want to mess with that, so I'm just looking to span from here to here. And it does have an odd little jog in here. So I'm going to attempt to form, and I can look at the other door, which is over there, as an example, but we're just going to kind of, and this is so far hidden on the vehicle, but I want to be able to have something that's in good shape. So I have a piece of board here. We'll kind of get it in the ballpark of something handleable. So if you haven't seen this kind of thing before, the idea is to make a template out of paper, or in this case something a little bit harder, before, and then just apply directly to the sheet metal, the pattern that you've created. So I want to match the gauge or thickness of the metal. I have a electronic calipers, and I can come over to let's just do it right here. There are numbers on the outside here. Okay, so it's 0.63 thick. This was a patch used on a Fender and a Corvair. And that's 0.60. So we're going to use this. We're going to transfer our pattern onto this, then we'll take it over and grind it after we transfer the pattern. Remember to shut this off. Handy to be ambidextrous. So I've transferred this pattern onto here. And I actually have tin snips. Working with sheet metal can be extremely dangerous. Every time you make a snip, you're in effect creating a small razor blade. And so the device holding this, let's see if we can actually nibble our way around with the tin snips. You can always take it to the grinder and cut or grind down to the last bit. Then we can go outside of the lines and then come back with the grinder to remove what needs to be done. Now the trick is, I'm not sure how to work in there. I guess what I can do is straighten that out. Okay, now I can cut down there. And I'll just cut this portion off first. Even if we bend it some now in the process of cutting it out, that's all right. Just bend it back after we grind it down. Alright, so I'm going to take the tin snips and before I go to the grinder and clean this up a little bit better. got my pattern here, and that cut down is right there, and it's about that much. So I'm going to take it, like I said, over to the grinding wheel and clean those up. The other thing I'm able to see from my pattern here is where I had to make the bends to form that bottom lip. So I'm going to match my pattern up, and I know that I need to bend it this way. And I basically need to follow a line all along there to about there. And then I'll go back to the fender to figure out what the rest of it is, but at least we'll start with that. So using the vise, part of that's a fairly flat or fairly straight line, at least close enough. So that edge is snug in the vise, and I can just beat it down and get a decent start at it. I'm also going to grab this from the side. Do a little bit more forming here. All right, let's walk it over. Alright, so the curve starts there and finishes, it'll end up finishing out around here in line with where my bend is. So this is about, it's fairly close. So this goes this way. The radius goes around that way. Pretty good. Bend back on that. Take it over and see what it looks like. So that part definitely needs to get bent over. Alright.